Okay. At least the microphone works. My name is Cynthia McKinney. And I used to be your Congresswoman for about 12 years here in the Atlanta area. And then after that, I had a harsh discovery. And the discovery that I had was that not only am I fiercely anti-war, but that the Democratic Party was not. And the Green Party had been courting me for a long time because of my green values, and they suggested that I seek their nomination for president in 2008. Now, there was something else that was going on that was really big in 2008. It wasn't just that I was on the ballot for president of the United States for the Green Party, but it was also that a senator who had been in the U.S. Senate for 2 years, by the name of Barack Obama, had won the Democratic nomination. And he actually was standing for president of the United States. Now, the reason that I chose to, well, I can't say that I walked away from the Democratic Party. What I would say is the Democratic Party walked away from me. And the reason that I accepted the invitation from the Green Party was because I thought it was time. In fact, it was past time for me as a conscientious, fact-loving, truth-seeking political activist to follow my values and to allow myself the freedom to say that enough was enough. So in 2007, before I even got the Green Party nomination, I declared my independence. I declared my independence from the national leadership of this country, both Democratic Party and Republican Party, that was responsible for the United States of America committing crimes against humanity around the world, and war crimes, and the most egregious crime of all is the crime against the peace. And those were Democrats as well as Republicans that were responsible. And so in front of the Pentagon on my birthday, I gave myself a birthday present. And that was when I declared my independence from the national leadership that was responsible for the certain set of circumstances in which we, people of the United States, found ourselves. And I felt so free and so liberated. And the reason I felt so free was because I likened myself to those women in the 1850s who had that meeting up in Seneca Falls, New York, and they did the same thing that I did. They declared their independence from the politics of their day that said that women had no place in the U.S. polity. They declared their independence, and it took them 70 years, but they were able to make the kind of change that today we take for granted. Now, there are some people who are responsible for me being here at this Liberty Fest, and I want to say thank you to them. I want want to say thank you to the Liberty Fest organizers who brought Liberty Fest to Atlanta, Georgia. Because now, you know, one of the criticisms that I have of the national activists is that they never, ever come down south. And of course, I know we need the extra help down south. We need it. But it doesn't mean that we don't have people in the South who feel like the rest of the country. Because I guarantee you every law that's passed affects us just like it affects everybody else. Every lie that's told affects us just like it affects everyone else. It's just that down here, sometimes we're a little bit slower to recognize when they're lying to us. Present company accepted, of course. I also want to say thank you to Robbie Wells and Barbie Dunn and Daryl Wallace, who stayed on me night and day to make sure that I got here. Now, I was supposed to be bicycling today, because today, for those of you who are bicyclists, you know that the spring tune-up of the bicycle ride across Georgia is taking place today. And they are probably singing before the campfire right now. And I'm here with you. I've been on a kind of journey since I was so unceremoniously kicked out of the Congress, not one time, but 2 times. And
go back again.
That's what some people are saying. But now here's the thing. I have found a love for the truth. And truth is hard to find up in Washington, D.C. In fact, it was my love of the truth that got me kicked out of Washington, D.C. Truth about 911, and so it was wonderful that you had Richard Gage here to tell you a little bit of the truth. Truth about the U.S. economy and how it's been hollowed out and stolen right from under us. And so that's why it's important that you have people here who have been talking about having a local currency, an alternative currency, and also pointing a finger at the Federal Reserve. That's neither federal nor reserve. When we begin to ponder these fundamental truths, including who are we as a country? What do we stand for as a people? What are our values? And how are we going to express those values to each other and with our relationship with the rest of the world? I just happen to fundamentally believe that the United States has much more to give the world than bombs and missiles, depleted uranium, cancer, and everything else that is horrible. What I think I would like to talk about for just a minute I have an idea, and the idea is about how we can effect change, the kind of structural change that we need, the kind of revolutionary change that too many people are too afraid to touch, but that we are not afraid to touch because we know we desperately need it. What kind of change am I talking about? Actually, as I think about it, I should say, what kind of peace are we talking about? Not the peace of the slave or the grave. And who was it that said that? It was John Kennedy. John Kennedy. I, of late, have been a student of liberty, actually. Now, what about liberty? Well, the way I have studied liberty is from the other side. And that is what it's like when it's taken away from you. And that's how you know how precious a thing it really is. How was it taken away? From my experience and my studies, I studied two things: the counterintelligence program, which was run by the FBI, and I also studied the church committee reports that talk about the United States and the freedoms that we have come to know as threatened. The counterintelligence program was a program that was run by the FBI that sought to divide people in the United States one from another. It sought also to repress people so that they would not be able to experience the freedoms that we would like to be able to experience. The counterintelligence program. And I don't know why I'm so hung up on this idea. Why are you so hung up on this idea of liberty and freedom? If we don't get hung up on it, then it will be taken away from us. That's why we have to care. And when a government usurps the rights of its people, as we have seen in the past, then of course that also means that we are threatened in a very real way. The counterintelligence program, the church committee reports are available for everyone to read online. And I would encourage you to read them, because the ideas that are put forward are, the ideas that are put forward are the kinds of ideas that people need to talk about. I don't know what else I need to talk about. Liberty. Huh?
Say your mind.
What's my mind? My mind is, thank you very much for asking me to say my mind. My mind is that we have too many people who are dividing us and saying that we should not be in the same room together, that we have different views, that we have, and it's not true. What's wrong? What is wrong with us understanding that we all are the same? We all have the same hopes and dreams and aspirations. And we don't have to be uniform. We just have to be united. We don't have to be the same. But one of the things that we have to be willing to do is to talk to each other. We have to be willing to see each other.
Listen and love.
To hear each other. And you're absolutely right. To love each other. Love is not hokey. deception out there. Just as you saw with Richard Gage talking about the nanothermite and the thermate. Well, you know, it's funny because I remember visiting Caracas, Venezuela, and there's a building in Venezuela that was burned. Remember, they said that it was just regular fire that caused those buildings to fall. And yet, it was the nanothermite and the thermate from Richard Gage's presentation that caused those buildings to fall. Something in addition to, because in Caracas, Venezuela, when the building, the tall skyscraper building that was in Richard Gage's presentation, when it caught on fire, did it fall? No, it didn't fall. It's still standing. Even today, that building is still standing. So, we have to be able to discern the lies and the deception. And it happens not just in the political arena, it happens throughout the way we live our lives, because there are special interests and corporate interests in every aspect of our lives. So I would just say that we have to beware, be aware, and understand that there are tremendous forces out there that are trying to divide us, but we are not going to let them win. In fact, in the founding document of the counterintelligence program that's dated 1967, one of the items in the founding document says that we must not allow whites to become sympathetic to the cry for justice and economic inclusion of blacks who back in 1967, you know, that was the height of the civil rights movement. And the document says that we have to keep blacks and whites divided. That is a COINTELPRO document that you can go to the internet and you can look it up and you can see it. April 4th, 1967. And what I'm saying is that we should not allow them to have one night's sleep, because we are going to join together all over this country. And when we join together, we can also change it. Thank you.